NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Drydene Performance Products, the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication. Drydene.com. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. And by Toyota.
He has been flawless.
Great job, man. Hell of a finish.
It's incredible, Andy, proud to be driving this 22 car.
On consecutive nights, Austin Cendrick will take the checkered flag.
What we did tonight was really impressive.
His fourth win in 2020.
Good job, everybody. Way to fight all day.
So excited. I mean, that's 4 wins on the year.
You have to be perfect to win on a road course, and Austin Cendrick has been exactly that.
Thanks, guys. Good job today.
5 of his last 6 starts have ended in victory lane.
What a run we have seen out of Austin Cendrick, and he will start up on the pole next to Noah Gragson. Here's a guy who has said, I want to be a part of wow moments on the racetrack. Well, definitely you could see a wow moment here at the Monster Miles. We're taking a look at the Drydene starting grid.
Yeah, I'm taking a hard look at Justin Allgaier. I mean, he has run really well at this racetrack. 2018 winner, runner-up in both races last year. I'm expecting a lot for him today.
Ross Chastain back there in row 7. Ross still looking for his first win this year. 16 top 10s, leads all drivers.
We heard Dylan Welch talking about Justin Haley back there in row 11. Already a win this year, but definitely wants to have momentum before they get a little closer to the playoffs.
It'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes throughout the day, but how about Byrd getting a great opportunity to jump in row 14 and maybe get a chance to win a race today or get up front, get some good points, good valuable points.
All right, Junior, let's see if we can dial up the driver of the 22, Austin Cendrick, on the radio.
Austin Cendrick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy, I see you chose that outside line. No practice, no laps. This is probably one of the toughest tracks to do that. You're going to drive off into turn 1, drop 15 feet into that hole. You ready?
Absolutely. I love this place. Anywhere you can go with elevation change, get that stomach to drop out. It's a lot of fun. Looking forward to the race, having a fast PPG Ford Mustang, and having a fun 2 days.
Outside of the track itself, what's the biggest challenge for you today?
I think for us, you know, we're really focused on that regular season points, so not getting too caught up in trying to go for consecutive wins, but maximizing the day. That's obviously a challenge every weekend, but, you know, here lap traffic's really difficult. Staying on top of the racetrack's really difficult, so those are my keys to our race.
Thank you for talking to us, Austin. Have a great race.
Copy that. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh, we're definitely going to enjoy it. We'll be looking back on Austin as we are right now. The Xfinity onboard camera here giving us that back at the driver look, as well as we'll be able to see outside of his car. We're also going to ride along with Justin Haley and the leaf filter onboard camera, also looking back at the driver. And then you also have the side panner here, which will show how close they can get to this wall and hopefully stay off of this wall today. All right, Brad, how about a breakdown of this one? It's going to be quick.
Yeah, it's going to be really fast. You see the race length here, and we got a competition caution at lap 20. Going to have to be really, really smart. Take care of your right front tire. Pit road speed 35 miles an hour. Final stage is 110 laps. You see these first 2 stages are at 45. You really, you got 3 good sets of Goodyear tires today. You're going to have to manage those tires and be smart.
All right. A little management taking place up front. Leading the field is the official pace car. That's the 2020 Toyota GR Supra. They'll be taking this field around the track and then handing off to Austin Cendrick and Noah Gragson as they will be in row 1 for the start of this one. All right, is there a spoiler in the Austin Cendrick saga?
You know, I'm really looking at Justin Allgaier, and I don't know if he would be a spoiler, but he's had such a tough season, and the expectations have been so high. He runs really well at this racetrack. I'm expecting him to break that Ouija board today. He is going to absolutely put on a show. I'm looking for Little Gator, that's what they call him, to get the victory lane today.
I think the spoiler might be pit road. You mentioned pit road speed right there on the breakdown at 35 mile an hour. That's extremely slow. We've had 29 speeding penalties in the last 4 races here in the Xfinity Series, and that's where some of these guys might get bit.
All right, before the green flag flies, let's head back to pit road. We'll start with Dylan.
Rick is a rookie in the Xfinity Series. This racetrack at Dover is one of the few that Riley Herbst there in the 18 has laps on. That's valuable always to have laps when you come to a racetrack, but especially here at Dover, as tough as this racetrack is. Double headers have been good for him as well this year. Top 10s in all 4 of those so far, but consistency from week to week is the focus. Numbers are aligning so far for a consistently good weekend ahead for the 18, Dave.
Dylan, Rick mentioned the wow factor of Noah Gragson, a guy with a social media huge following, and team leader Dave Ellens supports that. He said, we like that about Noah, and he's a good kid. But you know what? This is a group of veterans on this team, and they're not at all like that. So they hope they can put together the combo platter today. Aging veterans who are good at what they do, and the young kid who's a little bit of a flashy guy, Jesse.
Well, looking at Harrison Byrd, let's just say last time he was here, he didn't have the best luck. His day ended pretty early with a lap 1 wreck. Today, he's looking to come back and capitalize on his starting position. He's starting up front, up fourth, and let's see if he can capitalize on that, make the best things happen, and win this race.
Thanks, Jesse. And a lot of you are probably laughing when I told you who was driving or what the pace car was. Right there on the side, it shows Shelby GT500. It's the Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. So that is the vehicle that is pacing the field, and the lights are off on that Ford Mustang, that Shelby GT500. So that means that we're coming to the green flag. Again, there will be a competition caution at lap 20, so a sprint to start this one.
This is going to be such a challenging restart for these guys. They had an accident here on the first lap of this race last year. This was a slick racetrack. Nobody knows what kind of grip there is. So much elevation change, so many loads. Cars getting tight, loose. It's going to be a wild one.
Yeah, good thing that competition caution comes at lap 20. You got to figure out if your race car is handling. It's so important on this track. We talk about the banking in the corners, but 9 degrees on the straightaway. If you don't handle, you can't get out of the throttle and let it roll. So.
And again, no practice, no qualifying. This is the first time that these guys will experience this racetrack and throw in a new Goodyear tire. So a little bit different compound for these guys to learn. They'll be learning every single lap, and we'll see who learns the quickest. On the outside, Austin Cendrick in that 22. On the inside, Noah Gragson in the 9. Coming out of 4. Green flag in the air, racing from the mile. Easily up front, Austin Cendrick on the start.
He gets out, gets moving. You saw Noah Gragson really spin those tires when they took off, so he lost a little bit of positioning there. But right now, everyone's just trying to get a good feel for what those tires are going to do. You see a problem with Noah Gragson.
Yeah, how about the tire rub on the left front of the 9? Can that be concerning to a crew chief early on? Gotta be concerned with tire wear at this racetrack. It's very, very important that you take care of the right front. But we see that on the left front, Dale Jr. What could that be?
Yeah, just clearance. You know, these guys don't have any time to get these cars on the racetrack and get practice. The loads in these corners, they drive down over that hill, land really hard on the racetrack. Could be some bottoming out there, but it'll eventually probably either clear itself or create a problem with the tire.
Yeah, Jesse Owuchi mentioned earlier the G-forces on the body, 2.2 Gs every single time they go through the turn. And Brad, as you mentioned earlier, it's hard on equipment. I mean, that pounding every single time they go through these turns.
Yeah, we just take it for granted. This place is so mean. This is a mean racetrack. It's like going to the dentist office. Ooh. You just try to accept it and make, you want to embrace it. It's really, really hard. So, yeah, everything's, your tolerances, your clearances, just like Dale Jr. was saying, they have to be perfect because it'll end your day.
Clements right here, losing a few spots. He started in 7th place, was in good position to get some stage points, and that's really important because he's outside that chase bubble. And his Brandon Brown starting 21st, so far back in this stage. It's a great opportunity for Jeremy to get some points here early, but he's battling and losing ground to that top 10.
And Jeremy Clements behind the wheel of the 51. He's one of 6 guys that go to the track every week. Another one of the small teams that you love to hear their story, but only 6 guys on the road for this team, and they only have 4 full-time employees, Dave.
And one of the reasons why Jeremy thought this weekend, and actually lately it's been good for him with no practices, he's been around so long. His 15th year in the Xfinity Series, he said, I fire off well off the truck, and I should be good at the opening laps of this race. We'll continue to monitor him and see why he's fallen back from starting 7th back to 11th.
He was racing there with Ryan Sieg as we see the 11 of Justin Haley flying by the 74 there. And so already we are seeing guys a lap down to start this race, and that's the pace that Cendrick is setting.
Yeah, with no practice, no laps, we talk about it because it's a story. These guys in the back are really going to be much further off pace than typically without any time to dial their car or the driver in. So lap traffic's always been tough here. You see these guys running right on the bottom. That's a preferred groove. You're going to run up on lap traffic extremely fast, have to jump out of the gas. Could create some problems. It has created problems in the past. Dylan.
Guys, we saw looking at Michael Annette there in the 1 car, talking with Travis Mack, his crew chief. They're really excited about this stretch of races coming up. Good stretch for Michael. He feels like this racetrack at Dover is one of his best. As you see there, he's been just outside the top 10 in the last 3 Dover races. But this is another opportunity race for them. They feel like they really have a chance to have 2 good races here and starting off strong so far inside the top 10.
Ross Chastain trying to find a way around this 1 car. Gets that momentum on the high side. The 1 car taking that preferred bottom groove. So Ross is going to try this top, and that's worked in the past. Last year, these guys were running all the way up toward the fence. Ross creates that momentum on the high side, uses it to go to the inside down the front straightaway and take the position.
Junior, we're already starting to see this track rubber up a little bit. It's only 10 laps in.
It'll take a lot of rubber, and they'll be able to use the whole racetrack, but we'll pick all that back up when the caution comes out.
And the caution is going to come out at about 10 laps, competition caution. Right now, Austin Cendrick's trying to check out on the field. Enhance the way you watch the races. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. Visit NASCAR.com/driver. You can download that mobile app today. And we see the 22 of Austin Cendrick. Mentioned that there was going to be lap traffic come into play. It hasn't taken long for Austin Cendrick to put a couple laps or a couple cars a lap down already.
He's lapping lap traffic. It's lapping lap traffic. So he's got a lot of race cars on the racetrack around him, but he's navigating this really well. So everybody's done such a great job. Oh,
wow.
15, man.
Yeah,
again,
that was close.
Hey, great save.
Colby Howard there.
Colby's never ran here before. Everybody did a great job. We had an accident at the beginning of this race last year. I was expecting something similar to that, but so far everybody's taking care of their stuff.
Everyone's really, yeah, you're right. They're maintaining, doing a great job. Just getting some data, getting some information. We'll get to that 20th lap mark so we can have an opportunity to adjust on this race car.
Colby gets into the apron just a little bit and then up the racetrack into the 08. Good save.
And that was, Joe Graff Jr. on the outside there. He saved Joe Graff Jr. because he was headed up the racetrack and staying off of him. to make sure that there wasn't contact made. You can see Noah Gragson hasn't lost sight of Austin Cendrick.
Yeah, they got as Austin got into that little bit of lap traffic, Noah was able to pick up some ground. Noah's hitting his marks. Race car looks good and stable. Just crawling his way inch by inch back up to the rear bumper of that 22, and we're getting ready to get into some more traffic right here.
Noah needs a good run here. He's got one top 10 finish in the last 4 oval races.
Wow.
They've had a better season early on, but the last couple of weeks were pretty rough for this 9 car, so looking pretty fast right now.
Yeah, 2 wins already on the season. I don't know if there was a comfort factor that was there, but when we talked to Noah, he said, you know, hey, I want to go out there, and I mentioned it earlier, I want to go out there and wow people. I want them to see what kind of a driver I am, and I'll take chances. Well, maybe some of those chances haven't paid off for him in the most recent races. So maybe a little more consistent run here at Dover will help him out as they get momentum going toward the playoffs.
Yeah, you watch Noah race, and he's a very aggressive race car driver, and I like the fact that he's going to take just a little bit more time, be a little more patient when he races.
And there's that competition caution. It has come out. So now strategy is going to come into play. I know that you mentioned earlier they only have 3 sets of tires on pit road, so 4 sets for the whole race. Do guys come down now, get fuel, tires, and then stay out at that first stage break, or how will it split up?
Yeah, I think it'll split up, but if everything looks good and solid, I think you come down, you just get fuel and bounce on out. You know, try to save those tires if you possibly can. You see the track's rubbering up real well, just like we pointed out. It will come back up under caution, but there's still a lot left in that Goodyear Eagle you got right now, so I would bump it, try to get a little fuel, and get that track position.
Stephen Parsons is going to get the free pass. He was the first car scored a lap down. Richmar Florist joining the 99 team, and Stephen reached out to that Pennsylvania company to get them as a sponsor as we're riding along again with Justin. Hey, there's Richmar Florist on the side of the 99. Stephen Parsons, son of Phil Parsons.
Outstanding. He finished 19th there in October of last year racing. So great opportunity for him to get out, get some laps, get some experience, some exposure, and maybe have a good run today.
Yeah, it's the first time that Richmar has been a part of the Xfinity Series. So welcome them to the series. You see the crews getting ready. Once again, speed not as important anymore in the Xfinity Series. And pit road open, but not very many takers. So just a few coming at the tail end of the field. We'll be back for more and the restart from Dover after this. Ready for the restart. It's the NASCAR Xfinity Series Drydene 200 from Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile. It's been all Austin Cendrick, and now we'll get to see which line Austin will choose. So let's talk about the choose rule, guys.
Yeah, inside cars, obviously you have to have your right side tires below the orange box. For me, though, I'm just glad we can see the thing. It's so bright and vivid now.
Yeah, you see that arrow, they got to decide which lane they want to go into. You can't touch that box that's beyond the arrow. That's a penalty to go to the rear. So we'll see the leader, Austin Cendrick, takes the top for a second time.
NASCAR has placed that choose position 2 seconds beyond where the start finish line is. So it's 130 feet. But they say that they're going to go with, you have about 2 seconds, obviously, when you get there.
Interesting right here to see a lot of guys taking the top. You know, at this racetrack, the bottom can really get checked up, getting down into turn one. If you're in third, fourth, fifth, sixth row on that inside line, you really give up a lot of throttle getting into one because everybody's slowing down so much. That outside line can carry so much more speed off into turn one and through turn two. So I see a lot of guys really banking on that and using that outside line.
Junior, I said they were putting a lot of rubber down. What happened to it? It's all gone.
Well, the hot tires, when they slow down, pick all that rubber back up. Now, they're going to lay it all right back down, but it's important to clean your tires under this caution. You got used tires, picking up a lot of rubber and marbles. Clean them tires aggressively.
The top 15 stayed out, so didn't come to pit road on this competition caution. We would obviously expect them to be going all the way to the first stage before they make any changes to their car and fuel. 4 fresh Goodyears potentially as we come back for the restart. And it's the same. Austin Cendrick and Noah Gragson making up row one.
See if Noah can put some pressure on Austin. Stay with him on that bottom groove because he's coming down just like that. Now maybe these two can really race hard, pull away just a little bit, separate themselves.
Harrison Burton back there in third. See another battle there. Brandon Jones stuck on the outside now as Ryan Sieg in the 39. I think the 10 was also fighting in there as well. Teammate to Justin Haley.
Everybody wanting to get to the bottom after the first corner. Try to use that. You know, everybody wants to go to the bottom. That's why that inside line checks up on restarts. Everyone's fighting to get there. You want to get in that outside line just for a corner, maybe 2 corners, to take advantage of that checkup. Then get to the bottom as quickly as you can. Be aggressive. Take part.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe there in the 98, just behind that. The 2 that are fighting for position got a little bit loose there. Is aero a big thing here at this racetrack? I mean, did he lose a little bit of air because of 2 cars in front of him?
Well, I think he did. I think the big thing here, more than aero, is just absolutely making sure your race car handles. You're going to have some aero at this racetrack just simply because the speeds on the straightaway are high. But you really have to handle. I can't say that enough because as you get into turn one, and you hear Dale Jr. and those guys talk about dropping that 15-foot drop. You're trying to get out of the throttle, but you want to pick it back up as quick as you can. If your car is not handling, you can't get the tires straight, you're going to have a long, long day.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Ryan Sieg's going to have a long day if he slides like that.
That 39 car was out of shape, Dylan.
Dale, that's one of the things that they have been stressing to Justin all day is, hey, we know we're probably good enough to get by some of these guys, but don't put us in a bad spot here where we're going to get in trouble, and then that in turn hurts them for tomorrow. So he's done a really nice job trying to battle into the top 10 right now, but not putting himself in any bad situations, and if he gets in one, he gets out of it pretty quickly. We got a battle for position here inside the top 4.
Yeah, yep. Brad, you called it. You said Justin Allgaier was going to potentially be the spoiler. He moves up ahead of Harrison Burton.
Big day, big opportunity for Justin Allgaier. Going to change their luck today, going to change the direction of the bad news that they've been having all season long. It's really good. This racetrack, he's an aggressive race car driver. If they can keep that car under him all day and not get too loose, I think he's got a great shot.
I'd say he's really good here. Top 3 finishes in the last 5 Dover starts and a win here in 2018. I know that a team like him trying to really get some consistency and some speed, seeing some other guys win all these races, has been looking forward to coming to this particular racetrack.
Here's
Great battle here.
Yeah, Ross Chastain on the inside of Riley Herbst.
Ross has really been aggressive this race, moving forward.
I think Ross has just decided that that's the mentality he needs to have. You know, he doesn't have a top 10 finish here at Dover, which really surprised me when I was looking at the stats. He's so good everywhere. I think today he's trying to take that race car, get enough clean air on that nose, get up front, race really hard, and adjust on it and try to give himself a shot.
Dave, what have you got?
Well, it's what Ross doesn't have, and that is playoff points, so he's got to be aggressive. He's going to make it to the playoffs. He's some 328 points coming into today's race above the cut line, but he needs the playoff points, those ones that carry you through the safer points if you have a bad day during the playoffs. 0 right now. He's got to get to the front, win some stages, and win some races.
And playoff points stick with you through the round. So as many playoff points as you can acquire during the regular season and during the playoffs, you can carry those from round to round, and they will help you. Almost a mulligan for some of these teams. You know, Cendrick and Briscoe already have so many playoff points that they almost have a free race, that if they have a bad race, it still will enable them to move forward.
Well, it rewards you for the consistency, and it rewards you for performing very well throughout the regular season. That's very, very important as you lead up. And they're right, it gives you a mulligan opportunity. If you make mistakes, have an accident, have a bad day, you get to bounce back and not be punished.
Speaking of bad days, Dave, the 47 team, with Mike Harmon, they've had a few bad days this last week.
Yep, as Kyle Weatherman honors fallen Toledo police officer Anthony Dia on his race car today, he's just glad to have a car because the one they were bringing back from Daytona last week was stolen, rig and all, in Georgia. They're still looking for it. Police are getting involved. But the garage came together, as it always does for these guys. Jay Robinson, Racing Electronics, Johnny Davis, all contributing to make this happen. And Rick Ware, remember, he's got a car in the Indianapolis 500 tomorrow. Well, he provided a hauler for these guys just to make sure they could get here and get the soon 23-year-old racing at Dover.
Yeah, Davison, I think he's starting 27th in the field tomorrow in the Indianapolis 500. What a busy weekend. What a great weekend for motorsports fans. I mean,
not kidding.
2 double headers from Dover, as well as the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500 for the IndyCar Series.
Ross Chastain moving up another position. Man, this 10 car looks good. I know that lack of a win this year has to be getting under his skin. And I think we're seeing some assertiveness today from Ross as he's drove from 13th. That track position is not easy to get, but he has got it in this first stage.
Chastain up to the 4th position. The only way you're going to gain a playoff point, though, is if you win the stage. So right now, that's where Austin Cendrick is looking very strong. He has a 1.1 second lead over Noah Gragson. Then it's Justin Allgaier, Ross Chastain, and Harrison Burton all in the top 5. A little bit further back, here's a couple Joe Gibbs Racing drivers. Riley Herbst in the 18. Talked about the pressure of that number. It makes it a little harder because you drive the 18 in the Xfinity Series. It's been so successful. Said, yeah, you think about it. When I get behind the wheel, it is a little more pressure. People are watching, expecting things out of it as Brandon Jones falls in behind him.
Yeah, Riley's done a nice job. You know, he's had 2 runner-up finishes in 2020 and has done a solid job week in and week out. But you look at that race car, and that thing is just like Shark Week. You know, you look at that thing and you start hearing that Jaws music because the guy who's usually wheeling that thing in the past, yes, you know where he's going. But he's done a great job. A lot of pressure, a lot of expectation, and he's lived up to it thus far.
Dylan, what else is happening with Riley Herbst?
Well, and just to add on that point, that's something that Dave Rogers mentioned this morning, his crew chief, said he's made a ton of progress this year alone. And, you know, it's not easy jumping in one of these Joe Gibbs racing cars and performing right away. And Riley's done a nice job. He's had a consistent season. Dave said he's proud of the progress he's made. Racecraft is up. Now the next step is just finishing where they run. So they're running strong so far here as they battle for the 6th and 7th spot, but going to try to finish that off here over the course of this race, Dave.
Brandon Jones in that bright yellow 19 has been working on the lines he's been running, especially in turns 1 and 2. The team just radioed to him, we like what we see there. Really good through 1 and 2. Go after your teammate.
Yeah, Brandon Jones told us he's got to stay positive. That's his mindset. He has to stay positive no matter where he's running on the racetrack. He wants to be able to continue to improve, but he thinks his mental attitude of staying positive helps him be a better driver.
Yeah, without question. You know, the mental capacity of getting yourself, you know, locked into thinking that you can accomplish things, especially in racing. Momentum is so big in racing, stock car racing. Some people say it isn't, some people say it does. I 100% believe if you mentally can get yourself in position to overcome the obstacles of the day, the pieces and parts can take care of itself. Mental capacity.
Austin Cendrick has to be in a good mental place. He has been out front this whole race. Let's listen into his radio.
Climbs up to about 90%. Doesn't quite get the light stuff. It has helped him. Both ends or just 1 and 2? Both ends. Both ends. Seemed like it was a bigger gain initially in 3 and 4.
He's talking about the line that the other competitors are running and how they're making speed. giving his driver advice on the diamond that you can run or the lane you can run. That's what's so great about this racetrack is as it takes rubber, like right there, goes into turn 3, way up the racetrack, turns this car down and runs right off the bottom, creating so much momentum and speed down the front straightaway.
And that will be the 9th stage win of 2020 for Austin Cendrick, leading the Xfinity Series. And the wins just keep coming for this young man. What an amazing 7 races he has now. 13th straight race that he has led for Austin Cendrick. He wins stage 1 at Dover. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. Drydene Performance Products, the hardest working brand in heavy duty lubrication. Drydene.com. And by McDonald's. Great shot of Miles the Monster holding, actually right now, the 48 car. Jimmy Johnson. This will be a little bit of a coming back for Jimmy Johnson this weekend. 2 races here. He's won 11 times at this racetrack, the winningest driver ever here. So I'm surprised they haven't named the racetrack Jimmy Johnson as far as the greatness that he has been able to do at this track. And here come the guys headed towards you, Dave.
First pit box in, Noah Gragson running second. He said, I'm working on the throttle myself, but I want you to give me a little help through the center of the corner, but don't free up the back end too much. That's a lot for Dave Ellens to handle, but he'll come up with something for him, Dylan.
Justin Allgaier runs in the 3rd spot, pulls into his box, reporting that his front has lost grip, and as a result feels like he's just a little bit tight in the center. There's a wrench going in the right rear of the race car, 4 tires and fuel for him. Austin Cendrick, the race leader, reporting he is tight 2/3 of the way through the corner on throttle. Wants to run higher up on the racetrack. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment for Goodyear's Sunoco fuel as well as the left sides go on for Austin Cendrick.
A little bit of a tight pit road there as we saw Justin Allgaier coming in. Another car Allgaier was leaving. Another car was coming pretty close to getting to him.
This is one of the most challenging pit roads. The stalls are real short. We had 27 or so cars on the lead lap trying to pit all at one time. A lot of give and take out there. Noah Gragson wins the race off of pit road.
Take a look at this. This was tight right there.
Oh, that's snug. That is really, you got to pay attention to what you're doing 100%, be on your marks. But yeah, Noah Gragson, great job of that crew getting him off first. Now we'll see what kind of race car he's got out front.
Noah's got Chase Elliott's pit crew taking care of that car today.
A lot of success, obviously, last week for Chase, getting the win at the road course at Daytona. You take a look at how hot a driver is. 34 playoff points this season, leading all drivers. That's all come really in the last 6 races.
Yeah.
I mean, his 5 wins have all come in the last 6 races. 30 of the last 43 available playoff points have gone to Austin Cendrick.
Well, it's amazing, too, and Dale Jr. talked about it earlier, you know, just where he was last year as a race car driver, and even the season before. He has evolved so quickly and has become so comfortable in his craft. And we know he's talented. He's good everywhere he goes. We knew him as a road course racer, but now he's just excellent everywhere. And it's like I say, it's the mental part of it. He has overcome some obstacles, and he believes in himself. We heard it on the opening stanza. He believes that he's looking forward to going down to turn one and making it happen. That's a big part of it.
We know this track is very challenging, but also it's very challenging for the pit crews. Isn't that right, Jesse?
So guys, right now we're standing in the pits. As you can see, we've been talking about driver physicality, but there also is a pit crew physicality when you think about it. These pit crew members are carrying some pretty heavy tires and fueling up these cars with some heavy gas cans. To do that, you have to be an athlete. I'm standing right next to Marshall McFadden. He played in the NFL for a few years, retired, and then came over to the pit crew world in NASCAR. As you can see, there's a pretty big size difference. I'm 6 foot 200, he's 6'1", 245. I definitely want to be like him when I grow up.
Yeah, I tell you, we see a lot of athletes that transition from other sports that come over and be a part of pit crew teams.
Yeah, it's excellent. And a lot of times you look for the guys who are football players who you know, come over and can get the modalities are great because, you know, tire and wheel, people don't understand, we're almost 80 pounds. And these guys jerk them up and yank them around. You have to have great strength, great flexibility, and it's great to see these guys cross over.
Yeah, about 50% of these teams, Cup teams, are here today. They're going to do all 4 races, Xfinity Cup, today and tomorrow. It's going to be quite a workout for those guys. Have anything left in the tank by the end of Sunday.
Gas can, 110 pounds,
110 pounds.
full.
Whew.
So throwing 2 of those over the wall and holding them up there, locking them into these cars.
Got to be stout.
We saw the choose cone, the choose line there again, as everyone made their decision, either the outside line or the inside line, and a little bit different here. So Noah Gragson has chosen the outside after winning the race off pit road, and that puts Austin Cendrick on the inside now. We'll see if Gragson can take advantage of that decision position.
The leader of the control car, Gragson, gets to fire off. It's going to be so hard not to spin the tires for that inside car who's having to anticipate that launch. We've seen it so far this race. The outside line's been dominant for the control car, easily clearing into turn 1.
Working their way through the restart zone. Gragson first into the gas. Getting a little help there from Justin Allgaier, bumping him on the back. Gragson clearing Austin Cendrick. Now we'll see, can Cendrick continue his domination and get back up front, or is he going to continue to fall back? He's back to 3rd now, fighting for that position. And Allgaier goes up to 2nd, and Chastain saves it.
Yeah, Chastain just down into turn 3, lost the back of the race car, had to check up, tried to stay out of the inside of that 20 car. Close call there. Saved both drivers, a big deal there.
Yeah, Ross seems like he's been really loose all day long as we've been watching him. Very aggressive, charging hard, but that race car just seems to be a little bit, just a touch loose for him.
Let's take a look here. Down the back straightaway. You just drop, that's a 15-foot drop down in the corner. You can see the back of the car. He's not comfortable. He can't turn the wheel to the left. He's going to spin out. He's trying to not drive into the door of the 20 car. Most times you're going to hit that guy, take both of you out, but he's gotten around the 20 of Harrison. He's going to try to move on. 18 gets a little loose as well, getting into 3. There's some bumps into turn 3. I would tell you, as a fan at home, look at that 18 loose off of 4. It's like driving over railroad tracks when you go into turn 3. Imagine trying to do that and turn at the same time. Those rear tires are going to hop across the racetrack.
Once again, teammates side by side. Brandon Jones in the 19, Riley Herbst in the 18.
It was a heck of a restart. I mean, we had 5 rows of really, really good race cars fire off on that restart. It's interesting to see how it's played out. Noah Gragson's got a fast car, as we see, and we thought he did. I'm really interested, though, again, Justin Allgaier. Can he stay up front and give himself an opportunity? They've had such bad luck and misfortune in the last stages all season long. Right now, looking really strong, though.
Fight continuing between the 18 and 19. That's for 8th position. They've been side by side. Now it's settled. Here comes Ryan Sieg in the 39. He moves up.
This has been a great track for Ryan over the years. This is probably the first track where I think he really found himself able to compete with the top teams. So he comes here with so much confidence. You can see it right there. He's in here thinking, hey, I'm as good or better than these guys. He's going to race hard and try to get around both of them. He's beating, racing, competing with Joe Gibbs equipment right here. So that's a big deal to this small team.
Yeah, a team that's based in Georgia, and a lot of times what happens is they'll have guys that will commute from Charlotte and go down and work on the car down in Georgia. So, and that's Ryan Sieg in the 39. They also have another car on the racetrack, Myatt Snyder in the 93 from that same team.
Battle for second, tightening up here. 7 car of Justin Allgaier still needing a few more adjustments, I believe. This 22 trying to figure out a way to get around Justin. Half throttle, can't really get in the throttle. The car doesn't want to hold on to the racetrack. Down the back straightaway, real rough through here. Here's those bumps, bam, bam, bam. Rear tires chattering across the racetrack. You can see these cars moving around. Justin's car is sliding sideways right there in a 4-wheel drift off of turn 4. They've not quite moved around yet, not starting to move up the racetrack. That 22 could look up the racetrack and get some clean air, but he's got Briscoe right behind him trying to take that position away. Here he goes, opens up the corner just a little bit. Still not able to make any ground on the 7. Just a little bobble right there by both drivers. Let's listen to the motor here while he's off the gas. Look at the throttle down there at the bottom of the screen. Not full throttle till he's up on the straightaway.
Seems like we're able to stay lower through the middle than the 7. Is that true, both ends?
Yes, sir. 7's trying to open up a diamond because his drive isn't very good. That's the only way he can exit.
So that's important to tell, for me as a driver to hear, hey, the 7's drive isn't very good. All right, well, that's where I need to put the pressure on him. If I can get to his bumper mid-corner and get in his mirror, really challenge him, he's going to have a hard time fending me off on corner exit. Let's listen to the 7 car and see what they're dealing with.
Yeah, it's getting black real quick, Jason, just so you know. I have the least amount of right rear grip where the rubber is the darkest. If you transition up, you know, a half a car length off the bottom, anywhere up in the corner, it's really easy for me to just get that right rear on top of the track and slide it out.
So the track gets slicker as they rubber it in. That dark groove right there, that rubber is a little bit less grip than the cleaner part of the racetrack. And that's what's difficult about this is the track started green, felt great, and then as the rubber lays down, your car changes. You have to talk to your crew chief, say, hey, now I'm on top of the racetrack in the rubber. When we get a long run here, I'm going to be in trouble.
Noah Gragson, he grabbed the lead off of pit road and has not relinquished it. Not going to give it up. 1.0 seconds ahead of Allgaier. things are happening fast here at the racetrack. But how about in the NHL? It's already the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs beginning on NBC. Dallas versus Colorado, game 1 in their best of 7 series. Again, that's 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Noah Gragson had mentioned how he was a second ahead of Justin Allgaier. Well, Justin Allgaier closed that gap down to 0.2 of a second. Now he's fighting with some of this lap traffic, and so he's lost a little bit of that ground, Dave.
Noah Gragson out front there in the silver, orange, and black number 9. Looking good after that pit stop. Really the only thing they did was they added a piece of tape to the front of that car. Remember, he said he wanted a little bit more turn, and the one-word answer after 5 laps in was better. That's what a crew chief likes to hear, Dylan.
And right behind him, Dave, is Justin Allgaier, his teammate in that 7 car. They made a chassis adjustment as well, and Justin has been able to start moving around. Eddie DeHaan, the spotter, just came on the radio and said, moving up hasn't hurt your lap time, so if they can get through this lap traffic, expect Justin to keep moving around, because I think that's maybe going to be his only option. Get some clean air on that nose. That may allow him to turn down underneath Gragson or even roll around the top side and drive by him to the lead.
And that tape on the grill is the best adjustment that you can make in a race car. I'm hands down, if you come down pit road and said, here's all the adjustments you can have, the driver's going to want the tape every time, because that's automatic downforce on the entire car. More grip, more turn, more everything.
So when you're talking about grip and turn, Junior, I'm always listening to our guys, and they're talking at Dover. And the one thing that we consistently talk about between the crew chief and the engineers is when the car lands in 1 and 2. When the car lands, what does that mean? What are they talking about?
Basically, you drive the car real tight. Wow. Gotta go 3 wide down here.
Yeah, for the lead. Here comes Allgaier. Takes it away easily.
He's gonna have that momentum on the high side as the 9 battles back to the inside, but not going to matter because that 7 car is rolling on the top right here. He's going to go back to the bottom now, though. Try to take the air away from the 9 car. You can see it. The 9 chasing the car up the racetrack. Big bobble there in the middle of the corner for Noah. And here they run up on it. We talked about it earlier in the race, how lap traffic is going to play a big role because you run up on it so fast in bad places, like on the corner exit there. The 9 has to lift. And the 7 takes advantage of that and actually goes through. Wow, we got a spin on the back straightaway, the 98.
Chase Briscoe is around, and caution has come out now.
Running 4th.
Oh, I'm just getting ready to brag about him. We hadn't talked about him all day. I didn't want to talk about him under these circumstances.
Already 5 wins on the season for Chase Briscoe, and yet spinning at Dover and not doing a lot of damage to the car. Pretty amazing.
Impossible.
Let's take a look and see how this got started, how this 98 car comes around. He's underneath the 22, rolling through the center of the corner. He's like, all right, got a great opportunity here, and he's losing the back already, way before exit.
That was fighting for 3rd, so he was trying to take 3rd away from Cendrick.
And you get the back around here. It's just hard. This concrete is hard to.
Oh man, that's not good.
This concrete's hard to get a hold of. Yeah. Once you've lost the race car, it's pretty much gone. And then this banking that you talked about, Brad, just 9 degrees or whatever. It seems like it's 20 on the straightaways because your car just slides right down in that inside wall. There's no way. Only a few guys don't keep it out of the fence.
So you see the damage to the front end of the 98. Remember, this is doubleheader weekend, so potentially going to have to race this car again tomorrow.
I'd imagine they'll look at trying to fix this car, but typically teams will go to backups for damage like that. Sieg on pit road.
Ryan Sieg will go to the attention of his crew.
Just getting ready to start talking about Chase Briscoe. We hadn't said much about him. Here's a guy that's won 5 races, and we hadn't talked about him.
Was running up in the top 5, fighting for the 3rd spot when he spun on his own. Still out front, Allgaier. crew going to work there on the 98. The official app of NASCAR, it will put race coverage, live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. Search NASCAR in your app store, or you can visit NASCAR.com/mobile. And tires going to be a big issue, right, Jesse?
Yeah, definitely. Tires are going to be a big issue for sure. So for these drivers, they're having to commit to the throttle a lot sooner than they do a lot of other tracks here at Dover. When it commits to that throttle sooner, it's going to magnify the effects. When you're feeling tight, you're going to feel that a lot earlier. When you're feeling loose, you're going to feel that a lot earlier. What's happening is when you're feeling tight, that right front is getting abused. When you are feeling loose, that right rear is getting all the abuse. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers manage their tires throughout the whole race. As you can see right here, Chase Briscoe with the wreck here in the race. Maybe it could have came from being a little bit too loose. We'll find out how it affects other drivers throughout the span of this race.
And tires important, only 3 sets in the pits. They came with 4 for the whole race. For the 200 lap race.
So something that was interesting is the 7 car taking the top to control. Noah, had a choice to be on the high side behind his teammate. And each time that he's been in second place, he's taken this inside line. So there is that opportunity. You don't have to be on the front row, I guess, if you don't want to be. A gamble to go into that outside line and back up a spot. You're lining up in 4th instead of second on the inside, but it might be worth a shot.
We just saw the 47 dropping back there, Kyle Weatherman. It was a choose violation. He hit the box, and so that's why he has to go to the back.
It's hard to see. Drivers have mentioned how hard it is to see that small arrow on the front straightaway. Here we go to green. Great launch on that outside line. That's why I was saying that Noah could choose to start where the 22 did. If that's what he wanted to do, but he chose that inside line again. That might be something they think about as this race goes on, is working this new choose rule here at these racetracks.
Yeah, the last couple of times Noah started on the inside, seems like he spun his tires. So, yeah, that's good data for later on. Maybe he'll move up next time and take advantage of the outside line.
He's trying to survive to hang on to 3rd here. I think he's going to lose it to Ross Chastain.
What a run Ross Chastain has been on in 2020, and yet still hasn't found victory lane. But Ross Chastain, I mean, this guy has been phenomenal when it comes to top 10 finishes. Only 3 times has he finished outside the top 10 all year. Actually, one of them was last week where he finished 36th.
Yeah, and that race car looks like it's tightened up just a little bit. He was very, very free earlier on, but as the tire pressure starts to come up, I think that car is coming to Ross Chastain, and right now, he's got a pretty solid hot rod. Let's see if he can continue the momentum forward.
Yeah, both these drivers being stubborn, but I think Ross got the run right there he needed to clear that 9 car. Back here, the 11 and the 20 battling.
See Dex on the side of the 20. Fields is on the hood for Harrison Burton. A little bit different paint scheme there, but Fields coming on board for Harrison Burton for this race.
Justin Haley and Brandon Jones getting into the mix. Michael Annette, who's had a really solid season as well. Rounding out that top 10 with Jeff Burton coming on into the picture here.
Lead tightening up here with the 22. Cendrick closing in on the 7 of Allgaier.
All right, Junior, how do you pass him?
Well, the leader's obviously a fast race car, so right here, you get up here and try to take that air off. That's what you do. We heard that 7 car was struggling on drive off. You drive that nose right up underneath the bumper of that car, trying to take the air off that spoiler and make it even harder for him to accelerate off the corner. He only has a few opportunities. You can see the nose of the 22 trying to push across the racetrack right there, so he can't get to the gas and commit.
Yeah, we heard the 22 and talking earlier about that 7. That 7 looks like it's pretty stable to me.
Haley just took away the 6th spot from Harrison Burton on the bottom of your screen. We continue to watch Austin Cindric trying to figure out, wow, there he had to get out of the gas.
He did, but it forced him, or accidentally backed the corner up, and he got a great run on corner exit. The 7 didn't do so well on corner exit there. Now he closed the gap.
Yeah, the 22, instead of having to pick the throttle up, just letting that car roll, just like a short track, you pick up a lot of distance, but you don't have to put that throttle down.
Cindric wants another stage win, and they're about 2 laps away from determining who will win stage 2. Allgaier has yet to win in 2020, so his spot in the playoffs is not locked in.
Yeah, he certainly appreciate the stage point as well. The 22 going to the top. All right, this is his Hail Mary. It's like, I got to make something happen now with 2 to go. He's going to go to the top, turn the car across the racetrack, get this amazing run down the back straightaway.
that 7's fast. That 7 is toting the mail. Man, he is boogie.
He's fast. Both these cars, though, look out of control to me.
Yeah.
Especially off the roof of that 22. The 7 just really yawed out and sideways. But that run that the 22's creating from that high side is working. And it goes back to the bottom here.
But Dale, I've noticed a lot of times with Justin Allgaier, he likes a car that seems to be yawed out a little bit more than most. Is that not true? He likes a little bit of a looser race car.
Yeah, you can't be fast here if the nose is sliding up the racetrack. You got to be loose.
He's fast enough, though.
Yeah.
Justin Allgaier.
That's how you won his stage right there.
Green and white checkered flag. That's his 8th stage win of 2020. And a fight to the finish there between Haley and Harrison Burton. The end of stage 2 has come quickly. Justin Allgaier gets that win. Can he keep it up front? Allgaier still looking for his first win this season.
Lost Speedway is a new Peacock original documentary series hosted by myself and Matthew Dillner. It's a great look at some of the abandoned, lost, great racetracks across this entire country. We go and learn about their past and their history. All episodes of Lost Speedway are streaming now completely free, exclusively on Peacock. Sign up at peacocktv.com.
Who was the most fun to meet throughout that process?
Well, it was great to have the King come and spend some time with us because he all these guys they all race at those racetracks, and they could tell us some stories that give us some real history to those racetracks that we couldn't find.
Here comes the field onto pit road. See Noah Gragson slowing it down. Dave.
See Ross Chastain there in the white 10. He will be third after Noah Gragson finds his box. There you go. Third coming in is the 10 of Chastain. And for him, he said it was tight when it lands. He really needs them to make sure that doesn't happen. Might have to make a fairly big adjustment here. Dylan?
Dave, for Justin Allgaier, the short run, beginning of the run specifically, is the focus. Felt like they fired off tighter and lost front grip and still struggling to get on the throttle on exit. 4 tires and fuel for him. Austin Cendrick in at the bottom of your screen, breathing hard inside that race car, working, trying to get back into the race lead. Said he got tight, really just wants some clean air, but they're going to make an air pressure adjustment along with 4 tires and fuel for Cendrick.
Race off pit road. Is Allgaier going to win it? Yes, he will. Allgaier, Cendrick holding their spots. Brandon Jones, 5 positions on pit road. Huge track position for the 19. stage is complete for the NASCAR Xfinity Series Drydene 200 from Dover International Speedway. And a reminder, coming up next right here on NBCSN, it is the first of the doubleheaders for the Cup Series. And we will stay with you from the conclusion of the Xfinity race all the way up to the green flag for that first race of the doubleheader. Again, 2 doubleheaders. The Xfinity Series will race today and tomorrow, and the Cup Series will race today and tomorrow. So I want to listen into the 22 radio. Listen to how drivers watch other drivers around the racetrack.
Trying to save myself a little bit there. I was trying to surge the 7 a bit because he's way loose. Oh my God, man is on the wheel. I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing. Every time he lands into one, he is about to spin out.
So there's that conversation about landing, Junior, that you and I were discussing. What does that mean? We hear that all the time, but we only hear it when we come to Dover.
So it's about 15 feet off the front straightaway, down into turn 1, into the bottom of that corner. So the car sort of, everything gets a little weightless for a moment as you go over that hill, over that jump, and the car just plop, lands in the center of the corner. All of it, the right front, the rear, everything compresses all at once really, really hard down into that corner. And that's where you're going to be like, okay, it's going to either stick, the back's going to spin out, the front's going to slide, something's going to happen. And I need it to be better there. You're always working on that landing at this racetrack. We have that in a lot of different high-banked racetracks, the landing, the car compressing into the corner, into the banking.
Okay, we talked about strategy. How about Brandon Brown in the 68, Ryan Sieg in the 39? They stayed out. So a lot of track position gained here. Little issue for the right rear tire changer there. Little slip.
Split second cost you a couple of positions. It's incredible.
Brown's going to be the control car on the outside here. Not a ton of experience for this guy on restarts, but it's a great push by the 7. Our guy's going to try to go 3 wide.
Wow.
Brown really trying to pinch the 39 off the turn 2 there.
Woo.
More contact.
And how about that? Just that quickly, Justin Allgaier has regained the lead here at Dover.
And I didn't think that would work going to the top. I thought the speed of the 68 and the 39, I mean, they're good race cars. I know he was going to drive right around the outside of those guys, but he did.
And again, on that inside with Sieg, you saw just a little bit of tire spin, so that's been consistent since the start.
Yeah, we've seen it 4 times, 4 restarts that the top's been chosen and worked. I'm marking that down. Cup guys later today are all marking that down.
Noah Gragson now under attack from Haley. A little bit further back in the field for those guys. So they're mired back there as Austin Cendrick in the 22 trying to clear Brandon Brown in the 68.
This is,
oh, and close there.
Yeah, Brandon really pinching these guys down low, making them have to really stay out of the gas to stay off of him. He's taking that risk.
Good job by Brandon. He's got the preferred line, so he's making Cendrick earn every inch of that racetrack.
Yep. That's something, I mean, if you want to drive that way, you put yourself in harm's way.
Yep.
But it's a risk worth taking for Brandon Brown, apparently, to try to maintain his position. He's racing to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? He's in right now, in position to make the playoffs, but he doesn't want to give any points up to Jeremy Clements today. He's got a lot of racing left before we get there, but this could be a day where he can make a statement.
And you remember Letarte told the story last week. They operate out of 2 shops, one in Virginia and the other one in Mooresville. Brandon Brown, father right now fighting cancer in Northern Virginia, watching the races as he loses that spot to Austin Cendrick, now falling back to the 3rd position. Dylan.
Talking with Doug Randolph, the crew chief on Brandon Brown's car. One of the things he mentioned as a big improvement this year over Brandon's driving last year was just the number of mistakes that he's limited on the racetrack this year. So despite some close quarters racing there, he's given these guys enough room to get by him. They're obviously maybe a little bit faster than he is, but he's holding his own out there and doing a nice job, as you guys said, trying to race his way into the playoffs and not putting himself in a super bad or compromising position inside the top 5.
Yeah, he's just a bit off pace, but remember, he's got 15-lap older tires as well. So I think he's doing an amazing job right now just holding this track position.
I agree 100%. I mean, he is holding his line. He's done an excellent job. He's making people race around him. So he's taking the preferred line every time, and he's lost a little speed like you're talking about, but he's done a really solid job. He made Cendrick to be very, very patient before he got by him. So later on today, that 68 car, a little bit of fresh rubber, a little bit of an adjustment, he could have an opportunity to have a big day.
Sideways in the
Sliding,
corner.
yeah.
He is sideways. He's driving his heart out. All these guys are. This is what's interesting about this racetrack. Not one of my favorite surfaces when it comes to concrete, but man, you really get to see these drivers work hard. They're out of the racetrack sideways.
Talking about that 68, we were just bragging about how well he's handling, and now you can start to see it go away just a little bit in the corner.
68 car here just turning right. There's been a lot of that. He's been doing it every corner. 10 car finally gets by. Ross Chastain clears the 68 car now.
Oh, man.
Sideways again off the corners. Harrison Byrd trying to work that bottom. I think Harrison at some point has to maybe move around a little bit, much like the 10 car did. Try to find some speed up high.
Got inside of him and now is able to clear the 68, but they fight back.
With 68, those tires are going quick, though. You can tell it, man. He is sideways just about off of every corner. The car's starting to push a little bit up in the corner as he goes high, and he has to correct it.
Harrison's just as uncomfortable here on the bottom groove. Gonna send it down into turn one and get back to the gas right here and clear that 68. It's open here, clear from the spotter. Finally clears the 68 to 19. Brandon Jones going to the inside.
Brandon Brown, Brandon Jones side by side here.
Yeah,
and Jones up the racetrack.
Jones loses the nose of his car as well.
Guys, pit road is watching that 68, and I heard the words fairly impressed. Not necessarily with how Brandon Brown is hanging onto the race car, but how long those tires last. To your point, Brad, could be a strategy thought late in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. You're marking this down. You're watching that because he's a little bit loose. That car is starting to push just a little bit the big corners. But yeah, this could be a good play late on in that stage.
Brown and Sieg right now running 6th and 7th after starting on the front row. It's once again Allgaier and Cendrick up front as we go NASCAR nonstop. NBC Sports is on Sirius XM, NASCAR Radio Channel 90 on Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Eastern. And this week, it's Dale Jr. that's going to be joining the crew. And actually, Brad, you were last week. So how was your time with the guys.
It was
Morning
great.
drive.
Got to hang out with Bagman and Pete Pistone. We talked a lot about racing, and, you know, Pete's a Chicago Bulls fan, so we got to talk about that nonsense. But we had a blast, man. I think, I start talking, I can't shut up sometimes, so I went a little long, but it was great. Had a lot of fun.
Well, it should be a good time. Again, Junior will be on this Wednesday, 9 a.m. And we're starting to see the 68 and the 39. Is it leveling out here, or are they going to continue to drop back?
It's working better than I could have ever imagined. The 68 sitting here in 6th place still. The 9, Noah Gragson, was a top 3 race car early in the race, having a little trouble getting around the 68. He worked hard to get around Ryan Sieg there behind him. But these guys aren't just fading and dropping back through the field. This was an amazing strategy play for these guys to take those tires before the end of stage 2 and then stay out to get that track position. It's working out.
Yeah, he's done a great job, and if he 68 continues to manage, a little loose there, but he's loose and tight all together, sliding around the racetrack, but he's found somewhere to run to take a little bit of pressure off those tires.
I just wonder,
15-lap old tire.
I know, I just wonder how long he can do that to that right rear tire.
Got to give at some point, wouldn't you think? I mean, that's just a lot of pressure. But Noah can't get past him. Noah can't pass him. Incredible.
Well, he's been running wherever the car will end up.
Yeah.
You guys used the word land.
Oh,
look at that thing. Where is it going to land? It flicks one direction and goes another.
Wheeling that thing, man.
The only problem is down on the bottom, Noah's underneath the 68 car. He can't get to the gas either. Like, he's fighting the same problem with the rear grip. Down into turn 3, side by side. Noah backs up the entry a little bit. Tries to go to throttle here, but he just can't. His car as well, really fighting for grip down on that bottom groove. You can see it. The 68 knows it.
Yeah, that's what he did. That's what the 68 did to Austin Cendrick on the restart. You know, had him pinned down where he couldn't pick that throttle back up. Austin had to be patient. That's what Noah's going to have to do. Be patient and just wait for him to make a mistake or get a little bit out of shape and just take it back 2 foot at a time if you have to.
Brad, wait a minute. A little bit out of shape. What we've been watching every lap. That guy is out of shape, and there Noah Gragson makes the pass.
Yeah, at some point, that right rear tire is going to give up big on the 68. It really went high in 3 and 4 there. Cost him a lot of time as Noah went around. He could have been, maybe been thinking, hey, I'll let this car go. Try to find myself a comfortable pace. Not happy with pushing as hard as he was to stay in front of the 9.
Looking a little bit further back, Jesse, we're taking a look at the driver, the 21, that 21-year-old from Connecticut, Anthony Alfredo.
Anthony Alfredo might not have as many laps here in a real-life race car as he would like, but what he does have is a lot of simulator laps. Back in May, he ran in the NASCAR iRacing Saturday Night Thunder event and ended up winning the event on the final few laps, passing Alex LeBay. Anthony Alfredo uses iRacing to train for all these races, and just like the other rookies who don't have the laps, they use simulators to train. Right now, it looks like that simulator training is definitely paying off. He's currently running in the 13th position.
Yeah, this year without any practice, any qualifying, if you're a race car driver in either the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, or the Cup Series, and you don't have a rig, you need to get one, because if you can't make track time and you only get a little bit of time at the manufacturer sim, right? Because all the drivers in the entire series are trying to vie for time at the manufacturer sim. You might get one opportunity during the week to go to that sim. Well, at home with iRacing, you can run hours and hours at these racetracks to sort of get an idea of some visuals, references where to lift, get back in the gas. For road courses, shift points, things like that. So important.
Junior, we were listening earlier when we were riding along with one of the onboards. We were listening to the engine, and I was thinking to myself, is this a timing race? Is this a rhythm racetrack? Is that something that you can learn on iRacing, that rhythm of when you get into the gas and when you get back out?
Yeah, you definitely need to establish a rhythm at this racetrack, and I think trying to, that over the heel landing, all of those things. iRacing and running laps there and on the simulator, whether it's the manufacturer rig or iRacing, you're going to be reminded by these problems that you face at this racetrack. Wow. You can watch the race from last year over with.
Brandon Brown again was sideways coming out of the turn there, and I can't imagine that there's anything left on that right rear. Look at how sideways he is, just exiting every turn.
Yeah, he's just trying to manage that race car, and guys, we got to remember, they're in their pit windows right now, so if the caution comes out, we're there. So I know some of these guys are screaming, wanting to get some of those Goodyear Eagles on, but wow, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going forward by going sideways. Wow.
Still sitting in the top 10 here.
The problem is, you mentioned they're in their window.
Yes.
If a caution comes out, he could be the caution.
He could be.
The guys that have better tires and are trying to get past the 68 car are struggling as well. What's the 11 here? Leak filter Chevrolet. The one gets right up under the back bumper of that car, takes a little air off the left rear quarter panel, takes a little air off the spoiler on that left rear. That aero is affected by those cars all being around each other.
So Brandon Brown, Ryan Sieg, two drivers that didn't come in on the most recent caution, the end of stage 2. There's not any chance that anybody can make it all the way to the end on fuel, but the 39 and the 68 are going to have to come earlier. They're going to have to come earlier because they didn't come this most recent time.
Yeah, they're going to have to come earlier, but I think the thing that this has proven that it's track position. You know, who would have thunk? But if you get that track position, these tires will hold on enough that just like Brandon Brown did that entire run, just keeping people pinned down and taking their lines away, it's hard to get around. So we'll see what happens here in the next few laps. Somebody's going to have to come, though, pretty soon.
Dave.
There's Chase Briscoe back in the 98. Remember, he spun and hit the wall earlier, which is concerning in a couple of ways. The car's not been under him much at all throughout the day. But then they've got to talk about tomorrow. Here's that spin on lap 77 when he came off the corner there, just came out from under him, and he hits the wall pretty hard. So I had a chance to talk with crew chief Richard Boswell real briefly about what they wanted to do overnight, and he didn't hesitate. Nope, we're going to need a backup car. They'll have to request that from NASCAR, and NASCAR will have to approve it before they can roll out a second car to race tomorrow.
Yeah, you can see he doesn't have the pace. That splitter rack on the front of that car is beat down, bent down to the racetrack. Not going to be able to fix that, get that car the way they want it to be at a race tomorrow. So I'm sure NASCAR's going to allow them to make that change.
Yeah, I would believe so as well. I mean, once you bend that front end geometry like that, at a racetrack like this, that thing doesn't want to turn. You saw him pushing the corner right there. It's almost undrivable.
Cendrick right there in your picture behind the 7 car staying close. But even closer, the 10 car, Ross Chastain's in this battle as well.
In striking distance, Ross Chastain still looking for a win as well as Allgaier. We go nonstop. Under 62 laps to go. The NASCAR Xfinity Series Drydene 200 from the Monster Mile, and Justin Allgaier continuing to lead. Austin Cendrick about a second back, and Ross Chastain has come into the picture as well. Want to get a few updates, and we start with Jesse.
Right now, Harrison Byrd is currently running in the 4th position. It's a lot better fortune than he had in last year's fall race, which ended on the 1st lap. Earlier in the race, he told his crew chief, "I'm feeling loose in the center of the corner. I'm feeling loose at the bottom." His crew chief made some adjustments. He went down on the track bar, added a little bit of air pressure, and hopefully that stuff's going to take care of itself for him. He's currently running in 4th. He's looking to take it all the way up front. Dylan, to you.
Jesse, Jeff Burton is in the 8 car this year, and for a lot of drivers, that seems like it has been the cursed car, so to speak, of the Junior Motorsports stable. They have just not had any luck whatsoever. 4 DNFs in the last 6 races, but it's not due to a lack of speed. Just sheer bad luck and misfortune has plagued this race car. Taylor Moyer, the crew chief, was talking about how they just want a really, really solid day. Jeff Burton, making his first start in this car since Texas, is giving them just that. He's run inside the top 10 all afternoon long. They run 8th right now, and I think they would take that as long as they have all 4 fenders on this car at the end of the day, Dave.
Misfortune almost hit Brett Moffitt today in the 0-2 car, but the stage 2 end came at just the right time. When they brought the car to pit road before it was open, he found that he had a right front tire cut down. That was fortuitous. They had to start at the tail end of the longest line on penalty, but he's moved his way from 23rd back up to 15th, Rick. A good day, turned a little bit better with some luck.
Yeah, and track time yesterday, he was in the Truck Series race last night, or yesterday here at Dover, and he ran in the 3rd position in that race. And now he is the last car on the lead lap, and he's going to start seeing the 7 of Justin Allgaier get bigger in his mirror. And currently, there are only 15 cars on the lead lap. That's where Brett Moffitt is running right now.
22 car of Austin Cendrick trying to close in on the 7 now that they've got some clean racetrack and no lap cars.
Going back, talking about a little bit about Harrison Burton. He has done an excellent job today. Started 4th, went back to 16th, and made a few adjustments on that race car. Has been very patient and has worked himself right back up into that 4th position. Got a strong race car. He's doing a really good job.
Looking back on Austin Cendrick here and how he handles the wheel.
Yeah, watching him turn that steering wheel. He's looking tight. See him not really checking the back. Not turning right. Not jerking the wheels back to the right. Looks a little bit tight as he closes in, though, on the 7 car. The 7 car looks sideways, looks loose all the way around the corner. So two cars, the 2 lead cars handling totally different.
You know, we talked about, Dale, we talked about during the break there, I don't ever remember seeing this many race cars this loose ever at Dover. And obviously the lack of practice, but man, everyone's having issues on both ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, I think the 22 car is loose as well, but I believe he'd want a little bit more front grip if he could have it.
Is your loose all the way through?
Landing a little bit bad off.
So he's fighting loose as well.
How about breathing here? Is it hard? I mean, people talk about this being a big Bristol.
As long as you got something to keep your mind occupied, you're not even thinking about how you feel physically. If you're in the middle of a battle where you're trying to run that leader down, either one, you're busy, you know, it keeps your mind occupied and you're thinking about trying to race. Now when the race is over and it all ends all at once, it can hit you pretty hard. We see guys get out of these cars and fall over.
Right now, Allgaier has a 7/10 of a second lead over Cendrick. Then it's Ross Chastain, Harrison Burton running 4th, Brandon Jones is 5th, Noah Gragson 6th, Riley Herbst, Jeff Burton, Michael Annett, and Justin Haley all in the top 10. Just outside the top 10 is Anthony Alfredo. Ryan Sieg has fallen back to the 12th position now. Jeremy Clements running in 13th, and Brandon Brown has dropped back to 14th.
Yeah, there's Brandon right there getting passed by. Oh, we got a carp in the wall. Caution out, the 6.
Yeah, it looks like BJ McLeod in the 6 got up into the wall. The caution has come out. He's got a flat right rear, it looks like.
Absolutely.
Broke one or the other.
And this is perfect timing for all these guys to come down, make some adjustments, get some tires, get some fuel.
Go straight to the
6 laps
garage.
to go.
That saved Brandon Brown and Moffitt. They were both right in front of the leader getting ready to go a lap down.
Big time.
So we heard there, take it straight to the garage. Remember, this is a doubleheader weekend, so these cars will have to race again tomorrow, unless they have to go to a backup. But now, as you mentioned, inside of their window with only 51 laps to go, with fuel, as far as a full tank, they can make it all the way, probably almost 90 laps. So we see that 6, the Drydene number 6. He's going to turn hard left and go into the garage area.
So he had a flat tire, but he feels like he's got some kind of mechanical failure. See the guys dive on the pit road here.
Extremely important not to make any mistakes here, because we've seen track position is king. So you got to get off pit road. Dave?
Yeah, pressure on the pit crew, too.
Fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for third place, Ross Chastain. You're right, this is a critical pit stop now. Time for the crew to shine. Can they get Ross any track position on pit road, Dylan?
Justin Allgaier into his box in the middle of your screens. That was by far the best he's fired off. Still reporting that he's a little bit tight on landing, loose on exit. Looks like maybe just an air pressure adjustment for now on the 7. At the bottom of your screen, Austin Cendrick then said he's worse landing. This one was a little bit loose. They're going to reverse an air pressure adjustment, go back to where they were at the end of stage number 2. He's got the 2 and the 21 Cup pit crews pitting this race car. Here's the race off pit road. Looks like Allgaier got it.
It looks as though Chastain grabs a spot also on pit road. So Allgaier comes off first. Ross Chastain, which line will he choose? They'll have that option when we come back. BJ McLeod riding right up against the fence. Busy weekend continues for the Xfinity Series. Again, there will be 6 races when they get ready to start tomorrow before the playoffs. Obviously a different schedule than the Cup Series, but a doubleheader for the Xfinity Series. They'll get back underway tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here at the Monster Mile. I mentioned the 6 races until the playoffs, and tomorrow will be the start of that. Pretty wide variety of racetracks that they'll be on. Daytona, obviously the High Banks and Darlington. Richmond, back-to-back races, and Bristol before they get started with the playoffs. So Bristol ends the regular season for the Xfinity Series. Here's the path to the championship.
6 races remain. Regular season playoffs begin September 26th in Las Vegas. 7 races, 3 rounds. 12 drivers make the playoffs. Right now we got 6 locked in with wins. We got 2 guys though starting on the front row. Ross Chastain and Justin Allgaier without a win today.
Oh, hungry.
In control of this race.
A little bit of calamity on pit road there. Great job by Ross Chastain, but you see the 52, Cody Vanderwall, man, you can't take that with you. You just can't do it.
Well, he did. He did. Yeah, you're not supposed to.
No, got to bring that back. I'm sorry.
So equipment leaving the pit box, yeah, it will be a penalty for the 52.
It's a very small team. Jimmy Means, veteran NASCAR Cup driver and car owner, owns that team.
19-year-old behind the wheel, Cody Vanderwall, as they get ready to make their decision. Again, about 2 seconds from the time they cross the start-finish line until they have the.
Look at there.
Wow.
Oh, Chastain. I was waiting on somebody to do that. So he could have went to that inside line to be on the front row, but he's seen how difficult that inside line has been for guys to get traction.
Yep.
And he chose that outside line to be on the outside of that. So he can follow that leader. When that leader launches, he can launch and try to take advantage of the struggles of the inside line. Good move, I think, for the 10. Dave.
Junior, here was the discussion with the team about that choice.
Every restart before this, second place always shows top. I'm sure the 22 go to the bottom there. Top always launches good. Last couple restarts, so I think better off up top. Yeah, I agree.
By the way, Ross made sure to thank his guys for getting him that one extra spot that allowed him to choose where he did.
Dale, you mentioned that, guys paying attention, paying attention.
That's aggressive. That's the one thing I think that worries me is making that move real aggressive and real late and making contact with another car. We've seen that coming on the pit road. It can also happen with this choose rule going forward in the season.
Getting ready for the restart. It'll be 46 laps to go from the Monster Mile. Allgaier and now Cendrick making up row 1. Will it pay off for Ross Chastain choosing that high line?
One of the best starts for the inside right there.
Yeah, that was. Cendrick got a good launch.
Cendrick did a great job, and that will cost Chastain that second position now.
Falls back just a little bit, has Harrison Burton right behind him, but now the top 2 have been the dominant 2 all day. Austin Cendrick won stage 1. Then it was Allgaier winning stage 2. Now the 2 are going to fight it out. Who can win here at the Monster Mile?
22's got the run here. Not quite there. He knows he might need to make this pass as fast as possible as these tires get older and his tracks get slicker and the car loses grip. It's going to be harder to get around that leader. He's got to attack right now and make this pass happen.
Yeah, 7-car Allgaier's doing a great job protecting the bottom. He's got a lot of grip right now. So you're right, Dale Jr. 22 car's got to really get up, get him as loose as he possibly can, get him a chance to get his nose underneath if he can to get beside him. But right now, Allgaier's just, he's locked on the bottom of that racetrack.
He's waiting on Allgaier to make a big mistake. Justin real clean around the bottom right there. Dylan.
Junior, despite all these wins that they have racked up over the last few weeks, Brian Wilson, crew chief for Austin Cendrick, has still given him the go-ahead. We want all the bonus points we can get, so get up there and challenge these guys. If we can win the rest of these races before the playoffs, we want to do it because we want all the bonus points we can in the playoffs. So don't expect him to lay over here. He's going to be going to the whip here all the way to the finish, trying to grab another win and get those points.
History really trying to be made by Austin Cendrick. No one has ever won 6 out of 7 races. Right now, 5 out of 6 for Austin Cendrick in that 22 chasing after Allgaier.
Wild how out of the racetrack these cars are and how much these guys are working behind the wheel. The 7-car super sideways. The 8-car Jeff Burton has a moment coming off of turn 2. Just gets way out of the gas. 18.
Wow.
Riley did a good job being smart there, seeing that happen. He could see it happen and lifting early, trying to destroy everybody there. Good moment for all those guys to get through. 22 still putting the pressure on here on the 7-car. Look how loose that 7 is into 1. Landing loose.
Oh,
now he's got it.
Bump him.
He's got him now.
Got him out of the track.
Side by side. Here we go.
Woo! Cendrick powering by on the inside, but here comes Allgaier once again.
Can't get the throttle. 22 can't get back to the throttle. The 7 goes in hard, drives it in deep.
22 had to check up. Now the 10 is going to try to strike. Ross Chastain back here. Look at his chops with all this battle going on. Hoping for an opportunity to jump to the outside of his 22.
See, lap after lap, that 7-car, those tires start to give up just a little bit, and he works his way up that racetrack. Cendrick's got to be just a little bit patient, because there'll be a mistake made, and when it is, he's got to launch, jump.
Now wait a minute. Oh, Brad, remember at the beginning of the show, you thought that this could be the spoiler. You thought the 7, Justin Allgaier.
Oh, 7's winning. Oh, I'm telling you right now.
22 pretty loose now, fellas. Last couple corners, that 22's been hung out sideways. He looked in the mirror thinking the 10 was right on him, making him loose, but he wasn't.
So now 22's he's trying to guard his position. We only got 38 to go, so he's looking out the mirror. Meanwhile,
Brandon Jones at the 19 brings the caution out after he was sideways, but saved it. But the caution comes out, and now another restart. He was running in the 5th position.
This will be interesting. And we done knocked the pretty off of these new tires. Oh, this restart is going to be awesome. This is going to be fun.
And remember, the choose rule comes into play. So now we saw how it was Ross Chastain who decided he thought the high line following race leader Justin Allgaier was going to be the preferred line on that restart, but it didn't work. Austin Cendrick had a great restart.
With new tires, you're looking to get to the bottom of the racetrack, as we've seen the 7. He's protected the bottom until they start to give up. Now, the outside may be much better.
Here's a reason for the caution.
Oh, wow. Just goes in there. Just no grip.
That's pretty surprising how quickly that thing come around, how easily it come around.
Yeah.
All these guys, it's as slick as I've seen it in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, he just put a little bit of will on that thing, and it's turning. It keeps turning.
They're being challenged today.
Well, and now comes into play the fact that they only had 4 sets of tires to start with. They don't have any in the pits.
Not now.
They can't go back in and get 4 fresh ones.
No, run what you brung, baby. You got it. You got what you got.
I believe the cupboard is bare.
The cupboard is bare.
So pits are going to be open. But again, if you can't put tires on, you don't have fuel as an issue.
Track position is so hard to get.
Track position so key.
Yeah. If you got good track position, you're not coming.
Now it's the little things, working on those little things, like restarts. That's what Austin Cendrick said he had to do. Keep working on the little things.
I think you just have to remind yourself to keep your tires clean. As you're rolling around here, you can see them cleaning up the bottom of that racetrack, taking that rubber up. Just keep the tires clean.
Everybody stays out, and we'll be ready for the restart when we come back. The choice has been made as far as which line the drivers wanted to restart in. This is how it went just moments ago, as they are now doubled up ready for the restart. There will be 33 laps remaining from here at Dover.
Austin Cendrick choosing that inside line from second. I think he knows that he got a good launch the last time. They're on used tires now, but if he can be aggressive again, get another great launch, he might still be on the inside of that 7 car down in 1 and 2, and that will give him the preferred line in the corner. So that's the thing. He doesn't want that 7 to clear him before they get to turn 1. Here they go.
We'll see how the restart goes. 33 to go in Dover. 7 clears him before he gets to 1. Dives to the bottom of the racetrack, closes the door on Austin Cendrick. But Cendrick's going to stay right there on his back bumper.
Just the sheer momentum that 7 car leads him into the corner first. Great job by Justin Allgaier not spinning those tires, getting that car underneath and getting down to that corner.
Let's see what the cycle on these tires has done to these cars. It can really affect the handle, change the way your car drives, help some, hurt others. See if anybody can take advantage of a cycle on their tires, tightening them cars up just a little bit and go.
Saw Cendrick there get a little bit sideways.
Saw Chastain as well really wash up in the corner there. Both the 7 and 22 are just hugging that bottom the best they can. 10 car washed up just a hair. He's back to the bottom. Harrison Burton goes beating on his bumper.
Yeah, as loose as these cars have been, typically the cycles will tighten you up. So I bet these guys are welcoming that. Looks like you don't see the back of the cars waggling as much as they were.
All right, 30 laps still to go for Allgaier. That means he needs to put together 30 perfect laps. Brad, you mentioned a mistake opens the door for Austin Cendrick, and that's what he's looking for right now. Can Austin or can Justin go 30 laps without making a mistake?
Yeah, the issue is going to be, Rick, is those tires continue to give up just a little bit, like Dale Jr. was talking about, and the cars start to push. Now, that's where you have the opportunity. But can Austin get close enough to take advantage of that? And the other guy I'm watching is Noah Gragson, and he's got good speed in that race car back in the 5th position. So I think we got some other guys who will be players. But right now, I'm liking the spot that 7's in. He's got control of this race.
29 laps to go. Look a little bit further back, 3rd and 4th here. Ross Chastain in the 10.
Yeah, it looks like the cycle on the tires has hurt the 10 car. Harrison's trying to put the pressure on for 3rd place here.
I want to take a look at the Toyota driver update. We look at Harrison Burton, currently running in the 4th position, as we mentioned, started 4th, but dropped all the way back to 16th. They worked on that car. Obviously, Harrison has worked on his line and has been a lot stronger, running top 5 the last half of this race. Jesse.
As you can see, the drivers are experiencing all different kind of things with this tire wear right here on the right side. Some of these drivers are getting a little tight. Some of them are getting a little bit loose. It just depends on which tire you choose to abuse. Some of the drivers with their dirt racing background like to be a little bit loose, and maybe that's helping them out a little bit. For some of the other ones who don't like the loose feeling, it's definitely hurting their speed. It'll be interesting to see throughout the rest of this run who's going to manage their tires to the end so they can have that opportunity to win this race.
Big moment for the 22. In turn 1 and 2, the last lap, lost him a little bit of speed, a little bit of time.
Yeah, every time you slide those tires, boy, it just knocks a little bit more speed out of that race car. You got to try your best to keep it underneath you. And as you look back through the field, I'm watching, I see Jeremy Clements he's bounced into the top 10 position. Good run for Jeremy Clements.
Amazing run for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Sitting right there just outside the playoffs. 26 points out right now to Brandon Brown, running in 10th. Brandon Brown running in 12th.
These guys.
Big run for both of those drivers right now.
On the right of your screen.
Wow.
Sieg and Moffitt battling the 98.
Yeah, Briscoe way up the racetrack, catching it.
Hands full.
Yeah, Briscoe's got the pace back in that car. Even though that car's not driving well, he does got a little more pace in it since hitting the inside wall on the back straightaway earlier in the race. Here's Brandon Brown trying to get around the 21. Alfredo, that's an RCR entry. I mean, if you're Brandon Brown, small team like we've talked about, you got to feel great being able to run so well against this other equipment out there. These teams with a lot more support financially than what this 68 has.
Yeah, he's done an excellent job today, and he gets past that 21 car. Now he's got his sights on Jeremy Clements for 10th. So,
and that's the guy he's battling. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the battle right there for the bubble. Jeremy Clements and Brandon Brown, the 51 right here, and the 68. Those two guys are going to battle for this bubble, I believe, all the way to the end.
Awesome. Good racing.
When we talked to Brandon Brown, he mentioned he feels like they're kind of overachieving. He thinks the top 10 for their team is like a win.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. It's David Goliath every weekend for these guys, and so what we saw him do earlier on in this race was outstanding, and right now he's putting himself in a good position. He can take advantage of it, have a clean race to the end. Big day.
Look at this. Gragson aggressively trying to get by Harrison Burton.
Yeah, these two guys got a little history being aggressive with each other inside and outside the car.
Yeah. Actually, fisticuffs.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen them bump into each other.
And Gregson's going to take the spot. We'll see if Harrison Burton fights back. Look at how close this was.
Yeah, the 20 just gets up the track a little bit, and the 9 found just enough room to get in there.
It's been fast.
Yeah.
I'm watching his lap times. He's fast. So you see him pull away from Harrison a little bit as he gets past him. It's somewhat justifiable moving on.
Yeah, we talked about the history between the two. Kentucky, the two battling side by side. Gregson slides up the racetrack. Harrison Burton wasn't happy about it, the way he had been raced.
Yeah, both cars end up in the fence here, battling late. And they end up in the garage together.
And it went down.
Sometimes you got to get your point across one way or another.
That's the most action we've seen in a long time.
Yes.
Both these young men racing hard, though. You love it.
Yep.
So Gregson is up to 4th, Harrison Burton in 5th. We talked a little bit about Jeremy Clements running in that 10th spot, Dave.
Yep, and remember when we zoomed him this week, he was talking about having stayed up till 3 a.m. working on the race car. He said we kind of did it to ourselves because we sold 2 and we bought 1, and we had to turn it around for this week. But Jeremy's one of those guys who does a lot of things himself, works on the race car, books all the hotel rooms too. So if you have a bad room, you go back to the driver. That's Clements.
Yeah, and Jeremy, such a fun attitude, this young man, talking about the fact that, you know, only 4 full-time employees, 6 guys that travel, but also mentioning they only race with 2 cars, only 2. So they choose, you know, one of them more than the other, but only 2 cars that they're racing with throughout the season.
Yeah, they take, you know, 2 old cars. He just recently took 2 older cars of his and sold them both to be able to put together this newer car, right, to upgrade his equipment. They have to really take things and move them around and position them into unique places and use pieces to make this work. And it's pretty inspirational, to be honest with you, to see a team like this come out here and be competitive.
Yeah, just the want to and the desire that this Clements crew has to come each week and participate at the highest level that they possibly can is very inspiring. And
they've done it for years.
They've done it for 15 years. They do it really well.
Yeah, Dad and Uncle build engines mostly for dirt late models, but they also build the engines for the cars that they're racing here. Jeremy said he wishes Dad and Uncle would give him a little more horsepower, but he understands their focus has to be for the dirt late models.
So the battle for second starting to get a little tighter. As you see, the leader, Justin Allgaier, enjoys a pretty comfortable lead. Just about 15 laps, coming to 14 to go. The 22 and the 10 are closing up, though, for the battle for second. Dylan.
Long way to go, Junior, as you know, with 14 to go. But just wanted to make a note of the fact that talking with Justin and Jason Burdett, the crew chief, earlier today on this 7 car, their confidence was very, very obvious about what kind of day they were going to have today. And they feel like, you know, despite not having a win, they've done everything right the last few weeks, just haven't had the cars fall their way, and felt like that eventually their luck was going to turn, that if they kept putting themselves in position to run well, that win would come to them. They've got a little ways to go, still 13 laps, so it's not over yet, but it's been a great day for these guys. Justin feels great behind the wheel. It'll be a great way to cap off a great day with a victory today, Dave.
Dylan, it is looking good. How about the battle for second? What can Chastain do with Cendrick? He's just about 0.3 of a second behind there. He was told at the start of this run, wait for them to burn up their stuff, and they'll come back to you. Well, it hasn't quite happened, but he's inching ever closer to that Ford of Cendrick.
Yeah, he gets to about right here, and it just seems like he can't get much closer. They're all kind of fighting for grip, for air.
Look at these top 2 as far as Austin Cendrick. Here's a guy who, over the last 6 races, has finished 1st or 2nd.
Yeah.
5 of those races, he finished 1st, and then he finished 2nd in 1 of them. Well, right now he's running 2nd. So in 7 races, if a guy can finish 1st or 2nd in 7 consecutive races, normally you would say that's a pretty good deal. But Austin Cendrick's not going to be happy. He wants the win, but he might not want it as bad as Justin Allgaier, because Allgaier has been very hungry for a win here in 2020. Hasn't been able to find victory lane yet.
Yeah, what Austin Cendrick has done has been just remarkable. I don't care if you're racing Bandoleros. That's really pretty impressive. But yeah, Justin Allgaier, and I will take my pat on the back for having the Nostradamus-like qualities. For mentioning that the 7 car was going to victory lane. As
I was going to say prophetic.
Prophetic, yes.
Yes.
Or pathetic, one of the two. But either way, it's been remarkable to watch Austin. But yeah, Justin's had just bad luck. It's not been bad race cars, so it's been great to watch him do what he's capable of doing.
You mentioned bad luck. Ooh. Well, how about Road America? Bad luck here, racing up to the top 5.
Man, it's a hard hit.
And hits the inside wall. How about running top 5 at the Daytona Road Course? Gets tagged by A.J. Allmendinger, and they went and had a discussion afterwards. Said he made a mistake. A.J. Allmendinger admitted it.
You've already made a bunch of mistakes today.
And they talk about mistakes. Well, right now, Justin Allgaier wants to be mistake-free. Under 8 laps to go. Looking for his first win of 2020. Currently a 1.6 second lead over Austin Cendrick, and a lot of lap cars in between.
So now you got to be really patient, very smart, keep hitting your marks, you know, keep that race car, keep those tires under you the best you can, because it's so easy, as we've seen throughout the day, to have a little bobble here or there. And if you have an excessive bobble, it knocks so much speed out of that race car. Cendrick's he's only a second and a half behind. He can make up a lot of room if you make a mistake.
You just got to make your passes nice and clean and no mistakes. Slow the turn down and roll it like you've been doing.
That's Eddie DeHaant's voice there, the spotter. Jason Burdett up on the pit box. A lot of experience between Burdett and Eddie DeHaant. And of course, Justin Allgaier. He's a 34-year-old veteran of the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, you hear those guys trying to get Justin to make sure he uses a little less throttle and let that car really roll. Take that throttle out of it. Don't try to control it with that. Let that car be free and roll through the corner, then pick that throttle back up.
Every driver's a little different, but at this point in the race, when you're leading by only about a second and a half, you want to hear your lap times and you want to hear the guy behind you's lap times. You want to know that they're pretty much either equal or maybe hopefully you're a little faster than him, but those are the kind of things that can settle you down. Drivers get so amped up, so riled up coming to the end of this race, excited about the potential of winning. That's when you can make those mistakes. You need something from your crew chief, your spotter, to sort of calm you down, tell you, hey man, the lead's good, it's stable, lap times are good. Those are things you want to hear with just a few laps to go.
Calming voice, what you need.
And of course, one other thing that Justin Allgaier looks forward to is where the championship will be settled. Phoenix is the last race of the season. And a year ago in November, that was the last win for Justin Allgaier, was able to win at Phoenix. So now, if he can hang on, which he has to do for 2 more laps, if he hangs on, gets a win, and locks himself into the playoffs, what happens when you win. If he's able to do that, he's got to be able to start looking forward to that last race of the championship. If he can get into the championship 4.
That momentum I was talking about earlier. Build that momentum, and they can start today and create a great opportunity for Justin Allgaier.
We talked about who would be the spoiler. With 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank, it could very well be Justin Allgaier. 20 races since his last win. The veteran has been knocking on the door, has been consistent, but hasn't been able to find victory lane until today, the first race of the doubleheader weekend. And at a racetrack he's so great, Allgaier's gonna win at the Monster Mile.
Stopped all day. Jason, awesome adjustment today. We gotta tell you how cool this is. This is awesome.
A long time coming. Through so much, and it's FFA on board. Rick Brandt, the team owner.
Won here in May in 2018. Top 3 finishes now in the last 6 Dover races. This has just been a great track for Junior Motorsports. And Justin.
Yeah, it says a lot about Junior Motorsports and about him, being prepared to come to this racetrack without any practice and to go out and perform like that. That's really says a lot. Noah Gregson as well, for JR Motorsports getting a top 4 finish. So good day for those guys.
Allgaier acknowledging his team, stopping right here on the finish line.
So no burnout. You know why?
Tell me.
We're going to run this car tomorrow.
Gonna blow the fingers off that thing.
That's right, doubleheader weekend.
I'm the owner, so I recognize that kind
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't want to go to another car, especially one that has run so well today. Making the right decisions.
I'm positive, though, even though they're in jubilation and happy, they're already, his crew chief Jason's already thinking about what to do tomorrow. Try to make this car just a little bit better.
Up on the door, Allgaier's going to celebrate. 12th career win for Justin Allgaier.
You know, thinking about tomorrow and Justin Allgaier, I mean, this could be an incredible weekend for him in this race team.
Well, one thing that you have to remember is the field is inverted, the top 15. So that means that Allgaier is going to be starting all the way back in 15th because of the finish that he had today. Again, Cendrick comes home in second. Chastain was third. Noah Gragson fourth. And Harrison Burton in fifth. Let's hear from the winner. We go to Dave.
And I guess that's how you celebrate on a doubleheader weekend, because you have to preserve a race car, but you want to thank the people who got you here. Justin, give us the emotion now. Has been quite a season, but it's been a long season of disappointment for you to get back to victory lane.
First of all, I can tell you that God is great, man. And these last 18 to 24 months have been crazy. Just proud of these guys and the no give up attitude they've got. Really proud of them. Just this team is incredible. To have FFA on board today, to get them in victory lane in their first primary was super cool. Brent Professional Agriculture, huge shout out to them for making this happen. All of our partners, Junior Motorsports, just, I'm bummed my wife and my daughter came. It's the last week. She starts school this week, and they can't even come into the racetrack. They're sitting at the hotel across the street. So I love y'all, and man, just what a day. What a race car. You know, we were off a little bit in the beginning, and Jason did a great job of getting us where we needed to be at. And this is the power of social media, because I got blasted all week last week. And so I guess I need to thank AJ for giving me the drive and determination and all the haters on social media, because it's definitely what's giving me some fire, and we're firing at the right time.
Your spotter, Eddie DeHunt, said to you, get some good rest, and let's try this again tomorrow. What do you think about 2 with the Monster?
Hey, the slicker this thing got, the more rubber in it got, the better we were. So, you know, the Cup race today, I'm going to be watching that intently, see what happens, and then obviously tomorrow we come back and, you know, we got a few adjustments we can make. I still feel like we can be better, and I told Jason that on the radio. You know, there's a few adjustments that I think we can make to be better. But just proud of this team, proud of the effort, proud of these guys. I mean, the pit crew today, lights out on pit road. That's really what gave us the track position we needed and made my job a lot easier, that's for sure.
How about that, Rick? The haters became the motivators once again, and Justin takes a positive attitude to win the first of 2 at the Monster Mile.
And he mentioned Ashley, his wife, and Harper, his daughter, watching from the hotel room just across the street. Harper's watching Dad win in 2020. Justin Allgaier gets the win here at Dover. We'll talk more drivers when we return. A busy weekend continuing here on NBCSN. NASCAR America pre-race show. Again, the Cup Series is coming up. Countdown to green will get us set, and the first race of the doubleheader for them will be at 4 o'clock, and NASCAR America post-race show after that at 7. So take a look at the playoff standings now. When we started, there were only 6 winners, 6 names in yellow. Now Justin Allgaier has added his name to that list with today's win. And if you look at Brandon Brown and Jeremy Clements, when they came into this race, they were separated by 28 points. And an amazing point gained by Jeremy Clements today. Those two were fighting right around the top 10, and so it continues that fight. And speaking of the fight, a guy who comes home in second, Austin Cendrick, keeps that streak alive as far as first or second place finishes over the last 7 races. He spoke with Dylan.
Austin Cendrick comes home in the second spot today. Not a win, but what was the difference today?
Yeah, track position was extremely important. The track didn't quite move around. You know, when it would get a restart, you know, about 10, 15 laps in, you'd be good being the first guy up or making hay in traffic. But yeah, we got some things we can execute better on. But obviously, with great points today and getting our PPG Mustang, you know, in the top 3 is great, and then hopefully it's something to build on for tomorrow.
Yeah, how valuable is it just to have a good, solid day today to repeat tomorrow?
Makes it a lot easier for my team, I can tell you that. You know, I had a great battle there with Justin. Obviously, he wanted it really bad, and I knew that wasn't going to be an easy pass. So hopefully we can take it to him tomorrow. And I mean, he drove the wheels off the thing. I don't know if you guys watch my onboard camera much, but like he was sideways from the beginning of the run to the end of the run. It was pretty amazing. So props to him and those guys, and we'll try and do better tomorrow.
7 races in a row for Austin Cendrick. It's a first or second runner-up today at Dover.
Yeah, pretty amazing what we've been able to see out of Austin Cendrick, that young man doing some impressive things. But we mentioned at the very beginning of the show who could be the spoiler for Austin Cendrick. And Brad, were you one of the motivators on social media? Because you were the one who called it. You said you thought the 7 and Justin Allgaier could defeat Austin Cendrick.
Yeah, I don't want, you know, you or Dale Jarrett or Kyle or Dale or Steve Letarte calling me later to help you with your fantasy teams. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to turn my phone off since I'm a great prognosticator. No, it was just a great day for those guys. But the interesting thing from today to tomorrow will be, how do you adjust these race cars? You know, we saw them loose, we see them tight, very slick conditions. You got to be really careful. And it'll be interesting to watch the race tomorrow because you don't want to knock the speed out of these cars. So it's going to be fun to watch, but Justin did a great job, great win today for him. And that momentum, it picks back up. He's a legitimate threat now. He's got the monkey off his back, the Ouija board, they threw it out. Justin Allgaier is coming. Watch out for him.
Yeah, I think, you know, this track's always been a great track for Junior Motorsports and Justin. I think they came in here with the confidence that they could run well here, even if maybe they weren't as fast as they want to be throughout the rest of the year. And he got his first win, and it's really late into the season. So who knows what that'll do for momentum for that team, but they got some great playoff points that are going to help them as they go through the rounds. We know how critical those can be. Justin really striving to try to win that championship for the first time in his career. He's came really close, but those playoff points are really, really important. He got some today. He's wanting an opportunity to try to get a few more of those tomorrow.
And again, we know that Justin Allgaier is very good at where the championship is decided, which is Phoenix, and that's where the season will end. We'll continue coverage of this doubleheader weekend of NASCAR racing, and Dover is coming up. It will be Krista, Kyle, and DJ on the other side.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.